You're listening to the Outdoors Group podcast. This podcast is a call to arms to get children and young people outside again. It's your one-stop shop for all things outdoor, child, young person and education related. Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, I'm delighted to be joined by the head teacher of the outdoor school, Robyn Vincent. Robyn was a guest on one of our very first podcast episodes in which she talked about authenticity and having the courage to do things differently when it came to parenting and education. Today she's back as we're gearing up for the start of a new school year to talk about the growth of the outdoor school and the changes that have taken place as we get ready to enter our 5th academic year since opening. Thanks for joining us today, Robyn.
Thank you for having me.
And you're welcome. So last time we spoke to you it was April 2022, so that was 2 and a bit years ago, and you've been head teacher at that point for about 2 years. Since then we've had another 2 years gone by, and we're about to start our 5th academic year, which seems unbelievable really.
It does.
So how's the school grown in that time?
Well, it certainly does seem a very, very long time ago. But we have grown in leaps and bounds, really. It started with the good Ofsted judgment, so that came in October of 22, so just after we spoke. And that seems to have really kind of pushed our reputation. So we, in April 2022, we had 54 learners. We're going to be 80 in September.
80.
And the other big development really is that our children, our young people, have grown into phase 3, which is our key stage 4. So we've developed the curriculum for the older learners, and we have
really exciting.
It's really exciting, and we had one learner in year 11 because we don't take learners after year 7. So we had one learner in year 11 who became our first learner to take some exams. He got his functional skills in English and maths and has secured a place at Bicton.
It's really exciting.
So his parents and the staff, and we're all just so proud of him, and he, watching his self-esteem grow, has just been absolutely fantastic. And obviously the learner's growing, the staff body's grown. I'm not entirely sure how many staff we've got at the
quite
moment.
A few more.
We're about to start another 10 in September. And I think one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we've done a lot of work around how to look after the staff. So with the staff council being formed, so once a half term, staff representatives meet and bring to us any issues or anything that's really going well that we need to do more of. And the company wellbeing team has grown as well, so we're able to refer any of our staff who need support. So that's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I've got more planned with that to develop the wellbeing as well. Continue to develop the curriculum. We started off by rewriting it completely, and at the time it was all we could do, but it's become a bit of a blunt tool now. It needs kind of sharpening up, so that's work for this year, and that's going to include working towards better assessment systems that suit our approach, because the curriculum wasn't suiting, so I changed it, and now the assessment doesn't suit the
curriculum.
So
what does the assessment look like at the moment?
So at the moment, so the phase 1 headings, things like know myself, knowing others, explore and create, all that kind of thing, which replaced the national curriculum for our younger learners. We're still assessing them against that using mastery, developing, beginning, but finding that evidence for that learning doesn't suit the way that we're teaching, because you would normally take the evidence from books or from speaking and listening assessments. So one of our governors is helping us develop a research-based approach, and we're hoping to involve the learners in some participatory, I can never say that word, research where they help us design the way that we assess them. So that's going to be quite a long-term development. But it's really exciting, really exciting to continue to deliver that curriculum and develop it and sharpen it up with the kids. That's the
Get the kids to help,
bit. And as a result of all of that, really, our reputation is growing. So we're being mentioned in a lot of Facebook groups, autism support groups, SEMH support groups. We hear things about ourselves from people that have got nothing to do with the school. So I was shopping somewhere, I have no idea, and I had my branded polo shirt on. And the lady was serving me said, "Oh, I've heard that's a fantastic school." I said, "Oh, have you got a young person there?" She said, "No." I've just heard.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that is amazing.
Yeah.
And of course the big thing is by expanding as we have, we've increased our ability to support the learners and their families. So we've added a play therapist, we've got a family liaison officer, and we're developing an outreach programme that's going to help us support more young people. So that will have two sides to it. So it will be supporting young people who are on our roll but aren't able to get in for whatever reason. But we're also working with other areas of the company to be able to support young people in schools that can't get in, that we can go and help with them, or with their behaviour. Mainstream schools don't always have the behaviour skills. So we've had somebody going in to support a young man in Torquay. She'll be going into his school and helping the staff learn how to support him. So the outreach programme will be our own learners, but also anybody that wants to kind of opt into us.
That's amazing.
So that's just kind of just happened really. It was very organic. We didn't set out to market that.
No.
As these things happen, one of our Senkos was at a conference of something or other and was speaking about what we did, and then they came back and said, "Oh, could you do anything with this young man?" And it kind of happened despite us, rather, because we set out to do that. So there's a lot of change. We've got a full site now at Crediton. That's where most of our older learners are. Although in September, South Brent will be starting its own phase 3 or key stage 4.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So then it's geographically there's somewhere convenient.
Yeah, because Crediton's a long way if you live down in Southampton.
So we should be starting to see young people getting a lot of work experience and getting places at things like Bicton. We're also going to start to look into apprenticeships as well. So
that's really exciting.
Really exciting.
That'll be them doing apprenticeships at other companies.
Yeah. Or we could do them. They could work for estates. Or, so lots of them are already saying they want to come back as TAs, or can they go and work for estates? Or
I was about to say, when I did the podcast with the learners, I've got a feeling that one of them, when we kind of said, "What do you want to do when you're older?" he had like a couple of things, but one of them was come back here and teach. And I was just like, I love that he's enjoying it so much that he's like, well, I might as well just work here when I'm older.
Yes,
What a great endorsement.
Exactly, and these young people have often been told for a long time that they'll never be useful to society, they'll never get a job, they'll never get any qualifications. And if we can change those aspirations round and those mindsets of the learners themselves, of their families, and of employers and colleges, then my work here is done. I'll be very happy if we can start to change those attitudes to these young people.
And we had some learners do work experience this year, didn't we? And I can't remember, one did it at a bike shop.
The bike shop, yes, that was great. They offered him a Saturday job.
Did they?
Yes, Unfortunately, it was a little bit too far his way. His mum couldn't
get him there.
Couldn't get him there, and they also did some work at the Bird of Prey Centre. So we're now Beverly Garland and I are planning an employers kind of breakfast roadshow thing to promote what we're doing and get employers to
sign up for work
consider
experience and things,
taking some of our learners for work experience. We've only had, one this year, we've got 8 next year in year 11.
8 year 11, okay, amazing.
Yeah.
That'll be a big year. So this is like your tester kind of year now, the next year is a big one.
Yes, as everything is. Just getting bigger.
It's getting bigger always, just inching away. And so over the last few years, how have you grown or changed as a head teacher?
Beyond recognition, really. That was a really good question. In a formal sense, I've done further qualifications. So I've qualified as a women's leadership coach, and I'm using that to support anyone who identifies as female across the company. I've also recently completed the National Professional Qualification for Executive Leaders.
Wow, okay. That's a mouthful.
Yes, and today I became a menopause champion.
Oh, amazing. I mean, I'm not quite sure how you've had time to do all these extra things alongside running the school.
Well, you just sort of fit it in. To be fair though, for the MPQ EL that I've done, I had a lot of support from the company for that. There were 6 full days away and lots of things like that, so lots of support to do that. And people just keep nagging me about the menopause, so I thought, well, I better
do it.
Better do it. So I enrolled in April. I only finished it today. But I've done that. But in a kind of more personal sense, really, in this time between the podcasts, as everybody says, it's a bit of a cliche, it's been an absolute roller coaster. You never know quite what's going to happen. But one of the things I did want to mention was that I feel that I've been well supported to be able to develop into the kind of leader that I wanted to be. I don't know if I said on the last podcast, but when I was invited to come to the outdoors school, I was done with education. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't doing any more of that. I wasn't doing it to staff, and I wasn't doing it to young people. So there was no way I was going to go anywhere where I couldn't be a leader that I would like to be led by. So I really feel that my time, especially the last 2 years, I've really been supported and encouraged to do that. I've been given the autonomy to lead in the way that I want to. And the rate how I want to be is somebody who holds values and lives them and sticks to them. It's not always easy doing the right thing and holding your integrity. And it's obviously very helpful that the company values and my own align. But it's, as I say, it's not always easy to hold that, especially in time-sensitive situations, which you get in school, especially as the school gets larger. But the support I've had, I would say it's even more than support. It's almost an expectation that I will do that. That I will become that kind of leader. Because I'm not prepared to lead through fear. And that's kind of has been my experience. So I think, in a personal sense, that's how I've grown. Having that autonomy has given me much more confidence to say, no, the right thing to do here is this. Might not be the easy route, but the right thing to do is this. So that's, I think, that confidence and that ability to do that, I think, is how I've grown most personally. If that answers the question.
No, it does, absolutely. Because I remember in your first podcast you talking about this kind of stereotype around head teachers being like these kind of wolves that everyone's terrified of, and how you're trying to buck that trend. So
I'm still trying. Because unfortunately, having the head teacher title still does make people think, oh. But all I can do is lead by example, and the more times you show that that's not the case, the more people trust you.
And I think not just within the school, but within the company as a whole, I think it's quite countercultural in that approach. And I've spoken to new starters who, after a month or so, said, I'm really struggling with workload, and I said, well, just tell your manager. And they said, no, I don't want them to think I can't do my job. And they're really surprised when I say no, like they're really open to hearing about how you're actually getting on, and no one's going to penalise you if they've given you too much to do. They're going to say, all right, let's see what we can pass on to someone else, see what doesn't need doing. But people aren't used to that culture, because usually it's just, let's load up this person with as much as they can and hope they don't break.
And that's the trauma that we've all experienced from mainstream, and the culture around mistakes as well. We're actually trying to change human nature, because nobody likes to make a mistake. Nobody wants to admit to it.
Everyone likes to point fingers and somehow be like, well, it wasn't me.
But if we want to teach the learners that getting something wrong is actually a learning opportunity, then we have to do it ourselves, and it's very, very hard. Very hard. So as senior leaders, if we can all, because we have a public platform, so when we do get something wrong, everybody can see it. So if we can then use that platform to go, I messed up. I messed up. This is how I'm going to solve it, or I'd like your help to help me put it right, or what should I have done? All you can do is model it, and keep modelling it till people trust it. And the rate we have new staff coming in, that's an ongoing challenge. To prove that. But yes, that's the centre of what we've got to do, because we can't teach the learners if we don't do it ourselves.
That's it.
Just hypocritical in the extreme.
Exactly. That's a really good one. And I think actually sometimes the kids are better at learning to own up a mistake than we are.
Because hopefully they don't have quite the fear that we do.
I don't have 20 years of being like, oh no, I can't tell him that I've messed up this thing.
I'm punished.
Exactly. I remember having not been in the company long, making mistakes about 8 years ago, and it was rectified, but the mistake would have cost a kid their birthday party if it hadn't been caught in time. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, like they're probably going to sack me, like this is awful. And they were like, no, do you know what, mistakes happen, let's just work out how we can make sure it doesn't happen again and put another fail-safe in. And I was like, oh, okay.
This is a bit different.
This is a bit different, yeah.
And it actually makes you feel unsafe to start with.
Yeah.
You think, really?
Yeah, are you sure you're not like...
Or is the other student going to drop?
Yeah, maybe there's going to be a grudge and it's going to come back in 6 months' time.
Yeah,
but,
and we have to, as leaders, we're all human too, but we have to adhere to that. We have to do the right thing and be authentic about that.
Yeah, and it will trickle down.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
What's been your biggest lesson in your time at the outdoors school?
Oh, yes, there have been lots and lots of lessons. I don't know that there's a single one.
No, that's fine. You can name a few.
I think learning that I am not perfect, can't be perfect, and shouldn't expect myself to be perfect, and then also not having that expectation of others is, again, that's one of those things that saying it, thinking it, and living it
is very different
things. But so I'm trying to live by, as long as we're doing the right thing by the learners and the staff, then that's good enough.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to live by good enough rather than not good enough, if I can.
Yeah.
So my internal dialogue is always, you did the best you could with the time and the resources that you had. That is good enough. I think I've learned with some of our most challenged young people and some of our staff who've faced terrible challenges that human beings are inherently good, and all they need actually is the right condition in which to thrive. There's a saying something about, if a plant isn't thriving, you change its environment, not the plant.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and again, one of those things that's easy to say, but do it. And then the other two, it sounds a bit glib, but don't take criticism from people you wouldn't go to for advice.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah.
Because criticisms, we criticise ourselves enough, and when we hear criticism from other people, when we hear comments from other people, they may not be criticism.
Yeah.
Just talking about it.
Yeah.
But if you wouldn't ask that person for their advice, why are you taking their criticism
in that way?
Yeah. And the last one, which will be a lifelong challenge for me, I think, is learning that self-care isn't selfish, and to delegate, to share the load. I've got a great team around me, and they are fantastic, but I just need to be better at sharing the load.
Yeah. And actually, people get frustrated. We said about this earlier as well. Like, if they can help and they're offering, and you're like saying no, then it starts to wind people up. Because they're like, well, why won't they let me help?
Yeah, and what am I for then?
Yeah.
What do you pay me for if I'm not doing something?
Yeah.
So those are my lessons, and I don't suppose they're learned. I think they're learning.
Yes. And the first two, I was thinking, remind me what the very first one was.
Can't be don't be perfect. Don't expect yourself or others.
Yeah, don't expect other people. And I always think if your heart's in the right place, that's the main thing, isn't it? I always think it's the intention behind the actions and behaviour, and you think, were they intending to hurt someone? Well, no. So.
Yeah,
they were trying the best they could.
Yeah, it was good enough, doing the best they could.
Yeah.
It's easier to apply it to others than it is to apply it to ourselves.
Yes, like everything. I know. Yes. Someone often says to me, think about it if it was one of your kids in this situation, what would you say to them? And they say, well, why are you doing that to yourself? And you go, well, I don't know, it's not quite the same.
we talk to ourselves more than we'll talk to any other human being ever in the whole of our lifetime. Yeah. Why are we so horrible to ourselves?
Yes. Yeah.
Every time I drop something or fall over something or do something clumsy, my brain says, you silly girl. And then I have to go, really? Really? Would you say that to anybody else?
Someone else, yeah, exactly.
No, you'd either laugh or say you're all right.
Yes, yeah. Do you want some help?
Rubbish.
I'd love to hear about some of your highlights from the last few years. Because obviously you've been with the school from the beginning, which was 2019.
Yes.
Which seems absolutely mad. Seems like a really long time ago, but also no time at all.
Yes, and there's so much good stuff that it's kind of.
I know we probably could have done a whole podcast on highlights, but I thought maybe there's a few standout.
But I'm very proud of the way we got through COVID. When they said, well, just put the school online, and you're thinking, but we're an outdoor
school. How is that going to
yes,
work?
and I'm really proud of the way that we supported families and learners through that. I'm so proud of our first year 11 securing their place at Victon. I know I've mentioned it before. That's so fantastic. And when Ofsted came for the second time, and I almost felt like they were forced to admit that our unique way that we're teaching our young people, they have no choice but to give us
it was good. Yeah.
And there's a point during the Ofsted inspection where they have to check in with their line manager. And I'd said to them, please don't come in a suit, you're going to get muddy. Yeah. But I'm an HMI, I have to. All right then, whatever. Yeah. And then when they were doing, in the middle of the week, they were doing their check-in with their line manager, I walked past the door and one of the women was holding up her stocking foot in socks. And she said, look, we've got to wear our shoes. And I thought, gotcha. So that was really good. We had recent open days. They recently had this parents in and watching
picnics.
The
picnic sounded amazing. So for people that aren't listening, it was like a end of term summer picnic for staff and for parents and carers to come and get involved, wasn't it? And
because they've been asking us for a long time to come in, and with COVID and one thing and another, it was quite difficult. But watching the parents taking part in circus skills, whittling, cooking, it's just fantastic, and everybody was smiling. It was just all sights. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, all the photos looked amazing.
They were fantastic days. Seeing because I tend to think of the staff as my kind of class. So seeing how many staff have progressed through experiences, through qualifications, moving into different roles. Young teachers who came in having done their PGCE going, I don't want anything to do with education. Coming to us and after 6 months saying, can I do my ACT, which is the same as NQT year. Seeing them successfully complete that.
We've had several teachers go through their early career training with us, haven't we?
I think we've had 3 or 4 and we've got another 3 this year.
It's amazing.
So that's just amazing because what's amazing about it is that being with us has restored their faith in education. That's what's amazing about it, seeing these young, they're still young people to me, young people going, oh, okay, there is a way of doing this that isn't the mainstream model. We've been working really hard to improve induction for staff, and I think we're starting to see the benefits for that. Hearing learners say things like, I love coming to school, can't we make the days longer please? And they came to ask me that. And I feel safe and the staff like me. Just kind of breaks your heart in a good way. And families say how much they value the school, and as I said, people outside the school that got nothing to do with us here when we're doing well. The development of the junior leadership team, having some of the young people help us. We are slowly trying to work towards the Eco Schools Award, but seeing young people being able to chair a meeting, to email me and say, what would you like on the agenda? And then a week later, you still haven't sent me your agenda items. Just fantastic.
And learning outside the classroom.
Learning outside the classroom Gold Award, that was fantastic. Watching young people grow to trust themselves, grow their self-esteem. Seeing learners buzzing when they come back from one of our enrichment trips, the kind of cultural capital, like seeing the bees at Buckfastleigh, and no pun is intended, buzzing at coming back from the bees, kayaking, whatever they've been doing. But the main thing is walking around the site and seeing young people and staff smiling. It's just fantastic. There are so many highlights, just fantastic.
I was just, when you said about the learners thriving, I was thinking, the learner who's saying about people listening to me or trusting me, that was one of the other things one of them had said in the podcast to me. He said, well, here when I get cross, they give me time to calm down and they actually respect what I need. And I thought, it's heartbreaking that he feels like he didn't get that at another placement, but fantastic that he's like, and that one particular learner couldn't do anything but sing praise for all the staff that worked with him. He spent the whole time chatting to me, being like, and Woody's amazing and Adrian's amazing and Hannah's amazing. And I thought, what a sweet
But even just to be able to articulate that he knows why it's better. He knows he needs time to calm down, and he knows that if people respect that and give him the space, he will be able to self-regulate. So even just that thought process is fantastic, because that will stand in good stead when he gets older.
There was another one, and I can't remember what he said to me, but I remember going back inside and talking to the Senko and saying, oh, you just said this, and she said, he's never articulated that to us, so like we have a copy of the recording. I think he was saying about he's really, you know, that feeling where like it comes up that you want to do something bad and you know you shouldn't do it, and he talked to me for ages about fighting with that feeling and stuff, and but I thought, gosh, you're like articulate young man to be able to really say, I know that I'm not meant to do X, Y, Z, but I really struggle with it, like.
And that's why knowing yourself is one of our phase one curriculum things that we assess them against, because that's the basis of it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's more self-awareness than some 40-year-olds.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, they can do it at 12 and they're doing well. Yeah. Set them up well for life, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So as we enter this fifth one, what are your hopes for your learners and your staff and the school as we kind of go into this new school year?
Well, I've got so many hopes, and some of them are quite away in the future. But I hope that we can continue and extend this unique offer that we're offering to young people and their families, and continue to produce more young people who can live happy and fulfilled lives, think for themselves, and contribute to society. Continue to our ability to support parents, because the instructional family liaison officer has really proven useful. Long-term aspiration, I'd like to be able to offer parents to do qualifications with us.
Oh, amazing.
Which would be fantastic for
learners. What kind of things?
Well, like the functional skills, or I mean, we could eventually get to the stage where we can offer GCSEs in English and Maths. Just things that would perhaps get parents further in what they want to do. So if we could show learners their parents also valuing those opportunities.
And actually it's mad, isn't it? Because I had a friend that was really accomplished and was offered like a quite big promotion, and then they found out she didn't have GCSE maths, and she's like 42, and it just, when she was 18 or 16 or whatever, she hadn't got it, and so she then had to do the GCSE, and I think it's actually quite hard to find somewhere where she could do it and fit it in and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I did my degree and my teacher training with the Open University, and I didn't have a good enough grade maths, and I had to redo it. But because I was with the Open University,
you do it alongside that. Yeah. But that's such a great idea to.
Why? Yeah. Who at 16? Well, there's an awful lot of young people at 16 that will go, well, I hate maths. I people doing it.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the consequence of
not having it.
So the fact that I had the opportunity to use the Open University, I made mistakes when I was 17, 18. But I was able to rectify those because the Open University was completely open, it does what it says on the tin. Yeah. So if we can offer some parents the opportunity to do that would be fantastic. But that's quite a long-term aspiration. I want to equip more leavers with the keys to their next stage, because that's all the qualifications there are. Nobody will ever ask again. It's just the key to open the door to the next stage. For staff, we're aiming to provide much better career progression through better CPD and more opportunities, and I want them to be able to follow their individual passions like we do with the learners. And we're working towards being able to offer our own teacher training.
That'd be amazing.
So because we've got some young people and some not so young people who've gone, why didn't I discover education earlier? But I'm not a teacher. Well, if you want to be, we can help you. And then another big kind of widespread sort of proper aspiration is to work with other agencies and the government to influence the educational national debate through participation in research projects. We're going to join the Charter College of Teaching, which the government come to for teachers' opinions, that kind of thing. And the other big one this year is to create an MDT, which is a multidisciplinary team, so that we can support young people who are more challenged than the ones we've got at the moment by offering a purely therapeutic approach. So have an OT, speech and language, ed psych.
And they'll be on the sites that already exist.
Yes, or whatever we need to do really. So that's on the school improvement plan for this year to try to get that going, because there's still too many young people falling through the net. So that's one of my big hopes as well. Just want to continue what we're doing and do more of it. In a nutshell. And at one point someone was talking about doing like supported stuff for post-16 as well. Is that kind of still on the cards? One day? So that's one of the things that we are looking at, is extending our age range both up and down.
So at the moment we're 7 to 16.
Yes, we are. So we're looking at going it down to 5 or 6, and that's exploring that is this year's work,
Yeah.
with a view to starting that in September.
Yeah, I mean, 5-year-olds are very different from 7-year-olds, aren't they? Very different needs in some
But what's
ways.
sad is that there are 5-year-olds being excluded.
Yes, yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
So if we can do something for those children who just can't fit in the mainstream, but it's being explored this year.
Yeah.
So that's again another long-term.
A long-term plan, yeah. Lots of long-term plans. You
Yes.
might need another one of you.
I might. Or
Start
two.
cloning. Yeah. And then that's kind of answered the next question, which is what changes would you like to see within the school? Because your hopes have kind of been your changes
Yes,
as well,
yeah.
haven't you?
Yes, I sort of, when I was thinking about it, I sort of probably largely covered it, but a summary is better career opportunities for staff, expansion of the school and family support, the MDT, increase the age range, influence the national debate, support other schools to introduce outdoor learning and metacognitive constructivist principles.
I feel like we've got a partnership with a school in Dorset.
Yes.
What
yeah.
they're called? Stable School.
Yeah. And our TLP, which is now going to be AOP.
Yes.
We're working very closely with them because obviously there's a lot of crossover there.
Yeah.
But the reason behind all the changes I want to see is to support more young people and produce adults who can be the change we want to see, because it's almost too late for my generation to make a change. So the current education system doesn't effectively support that.
No.
So let's just keep doing it.
Let's just keep trying to change, yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, it influences so much stuff, doesn't it? I was talking to
Yeah.
someone the other day about climate change anxiety again, and the statistics about how little faith teenagers have got in the adults around them to do anything to help.
So we have to empower them.
So we have to empower them to give them the tools to make the changes.
Yeah. I mean, it's another cliche, isn't it? It's be the change you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep trying.
Keep trying. Well, it sounds like you're doing an amazing job. Is there anything else about the school that you thought we haven't covered that you might like to just tell people?
I only want to give credit where it's due and say that the adults who come to work with the school, the company staff that support us, are beautifully unique learners, and they're wonderfully supportive parents and carers, just amazing. And every day they go a long way to restoring my faith that humankind actually has a future, and a future that we all want to be part of.
Yes.
And just to say that it's an absolute privilege to lead this school in this community. It really is, and I never forget that. And when I forget that, it will be time for me to quit.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's a really lovely community that we've got at Tog and the school.
Yes,
we are really lucky, I think.
Yes, I would say it is an absolute privilege to be involved and to be able to innovate.
Yes.
To be given that space.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really exciting to be part of it, even on the outskirts. I love watching all the changes and being like, well, that's pretty cool. And sometimes, like, I get stuck on my laptop a bit, and then if I go onto site, either one of the school sites or the forest school sites or the alternative provision, and then you kind of go, this is what we're doing it for. When you see those kids and have those conversations, you're like, oh yes, I remember.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's and it's really important to keep hold of that. That actually at the heart of everything we do is the young person. Yeah. And we're doing something right because they keep turning up. Our attendance is very good.
Yes. I was going to ask about your attendance actually. Is it pretty good?
Yes, it's between if you take out those learners who can't attend for various mental health reasons, we normally average between 87 and 91.
Wow, that is good.
Which is on a par with a lot of mainstreams.
Yeah.
That shows.
That is amazing. Yeah. Given that we're outdoors working with kids with lots of needs and
they've learned to vote with their feet.
Yes, you can just not get out of the car.
But they're coming.
Yeah.
And being up there saying, hello, miss, I haven't seen Robyn for ages, can I give you a hug? Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. And lovely that they know to ask.
Yes. So yes.
Another lesson.
yes.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
I could talk about the school forever.
Yes, I was going to say, it's just so lovely, isn't it? It's so exciting to watch it, and from those kind of humble beginnings at West Ham Farm to what it is now. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and we forget sometimes to look back and how far we've actually come. Tend to only see the problems in front of you. So it's really nice actually to be asked to come and talk about how far we've come, because it made me think about it.
It gives you a good reflection point,
Yeah.
I always think about with parenting as well. I remember someone saying to me once, you'll get so focused in the kids' latest challenge that sometimes you need to be like, oh hang on, but 2 years ago their behaviour was like this and now it's not, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we need constant reminders to do that. I need constant reminders to look back.
I think we all do. It's really easy to get stuck in the present and the
what's
problems
facing you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for your time. I always finish the podcast with a couple of questions, and obviously we've asked you some of yours already. But this first one will always change, hopefully, unless you read the same book and repeat for 2 years. No. So, what are you reading or listening to?
I'm reading a series of books called Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley, but I'm also reading Retiring Superwoman by Dr. Joanna Martin, who is the designer and founder of the coaching model that I use. So I'm indulging myself in some fiction, but also reading some non-fiction.
CBD at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what? Everyone I ask, there does seem to be, there's so many people that are like, their reading list is just stuff that further encourages their passion in work. And everyone loves to know more about it.
I'm about to pick up the Terry Pratchett The Witches, which should be a return because I love. I'm celebrating entering my Chrome phase, and Granny Weatherwax is my heroine.
Okay, so you're a role model. And any outdoorsy goals or plans for the autumn for the rest of the year?
I'm sure people are aware I suffer from chronic fatigue, and I have the dizziness that it causes has meant that I can't get into the sea. And I actually managed it at the weekend.
Amazing.
With support. I was able to get into the sea, so I'm going to try and investigate ways of some kind of cold water swimming or something. Where I can actually get in, because I can't get in past the breakers because of the dizziness. I fall over, which I
maybe a Lido.
Well, yes, yeah.
In Brixham, there's a
Lido. Or an old-fashioned Victorian bathing machine.
Yes, or one of those.
But I want to try and challenge myself to do something like that. Yeah.
And good time of year because it's warmest at this time of year. So.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Rather than the people I meet who start in January, and I think, why would you start in January? It's the worst time of year.
It can only get better.
Well, that's true.
but I've been using my chronic fatigue as an excuse.
Okay.
So I've got to find a way around it.
Despite, that's very nice. Brilliant. Oh, thanks so much for your time again.
No problem.
Really enjoyed chatting to you.
Nothing to be asked.
You're welcome. A big thank you to Robyn for coming to talk to me as the Outdoor School gears up for its 5th academic year, to talk about the growth of the school over the last 4 years and to talk about her journey as a head teacher. It was really interesting to hear about the changes and the growth and the developments, and sounds like it's a really exciting time at the Outdoor School. Hope that you enjoyed listening just as much as I enjoyed chatting to Robyn, and if you did, as always, please do subscribe to the podcast, rate it, share it with your friends, do all the things that means that more people can find us. We'll be back in a fortnight with another episode, but until then, thanks for listening.